Hi, Kelly Clement here for MetaStock. I'm very pleased today to introduce you to MetaStock 15. MetaStock 15 is a very user-driven upgrade, meaning for years we've had people asking us to bring back the downloader, offline mode, and local data. I'm very pleased to announce that all three of those are back inside MetaStock 15. So now you have the ability to run the downloader, run offline, and use your own local data that's on your computer. Along with those features, we've also brought in some other features to go along with it. We've brought in the ability to scan and backtest in custom timeframes. We've enhanced the forecaster to help you be able to forecast in multiple timeframes. We've added in a few new strategies and systems as well. The first one is the PowerStrike add-on. The PowerStrike add-on is for options traders and typically sells for $200 if you're to buy it on MetaStock.com, but we've included it inside the upgrade for free. We've also included a system called the SectorStat Experts, which builds on the SectorStat Expert indicators that were included in MetaStock 13 and higher. These indicators and experts are designed to help you give a top-down approach to the market. Next, we've included in the Haguro Method. The Haguro Method is designed to help you identify support and resistance based off of weekly charts. The next strategy is one that's called the Teach Talks Trade Systems. These take a classic indicators and put a new twist to them. In addition, we've included 7 new templates, and we'll cover these later in the presentation. But for now, let's start with the offline mode. So again, we're very excited to bring back offline mode and the ability to run offline. And it's very, very simple to go from online to offline mode inside MetaStock. The first way is if you're running in online mode and you'd like to switch to offline mode, you can just go File and go offline. It's as simple as that. You can also click down here in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. You'll see 2 little computer monitors there. If you click that button, it'll switch you to offline mode as well. If you don't have MetaStock started and you'd just like to start in offline mode, you're on a plane, you're in a field or a cafe, and you'd just like to look at your local charts, all you need to do is go to Start, scroll down through your apps here, and then just go into your MetaStock folder and choose MetaStock offline mode. So I'm running RT here. If it was DC, it would say MetaStock DC offline mode. All you have to do is select that. When you're running offline, if you'd like to go online, you can do exactly the opposite of what we showed and just go back up here and go File and go Online, or click in the bottom right-hand corner and you'll go online there as well. So very easy to switch between an offline and online mode and very easy to use. Now next we want to talk about local data. So local data is actually awesome now because what we've done is you have the ability to read all your old MetaStock file formats. You also have the ability to read CSV. But what we've done here is we've included a new file format for MetaStock. This file format is faster, quicker, and easier to use than the previous versions. So it's actually going to be easier for you to run MetaStock using this new file format. Let's just quickly show you how to add local data inside your MetaStock. So what we're going to do, just go back to MetaStock here really quickly. I'm just going to right-click on Instruments, go down to Custom Lists, and we're just going to point to where our local file folders are. So all I have to do is click here, go to Local Instruments, choose Browse, and I've already got a folder loaded there, but let's show you how to do one. So you may have to navigate to where your local data is stored on your computer, but all you have to do is choose your folder, select it, and then MetaStock will load those in for you. So all I have to do now is click Add, and you'll see that data is loaded right in. You'll also see that it creates a list name based off of the folder that you selected. So since I chose S&P 500, it's going to put S&P 500 into that list. Okay, so all I have to do now is go down, click Save. That list is created in the Custom List Manager, and now it's available inside MetaStock for me to use. So if I wanted to open up any of these charts, I could just go in and select any of the charts I wanted to work with. I could go through and explore based off of this list. I can scan and backtest, even forecast. So all the features of MetaStock are now available to use with that local data. So it makes it very, very easy for you to use and work with. Next, let's just talk about the downloader for just a few moments. So the downloader is going to let you use and work with that legacy MetaStock data, CSV, and the new and improved local file format. Now the new downloader will let you download inside that new MetaStock file format, and you can also convert CSV and the legacy file format into the new file format in the downloader. So let's just go in and show you the downloader for just a moment, show you some of the features that it has. So we're going to come in here, and all I have to do is click on the downloader icon, and it will open up the downloader program. Now the downloader's been rebuilt from the ground up. It's not as clunky as the old downloader that you may be used to, but it's going to be faster and easier for you to use. And that's the important thing here, is we wanted to make the downloader a great experience for you as a user. So when you come in, it has the ability for you to add local file folders. So if you already have files already on your computer, you can just point, select the folder, and it loads right in to be downloaded. If you already have files installed and you're just ready to do your download, come over and click download, and it will download. Any of your lists you're able to easily manipulate. So if you want to change your first date, your last date, create new securities, all the things that the old downloader could do, but now it's in a new, easier to use format. One of the things that you're able to do in the new downloader that you weren't able to do in the old downloader is download hourly snapshot data. And what that means is, with MetaStock 13 and higher, if you're using an online chart, during the day you would get a snapshot of the daily bar every hour. And so now we've included that in the downloader, so you're able to download that snapshot as you go through the day. Or you can wait till the end of the day as you do in the downloader now. But we've included that new feature in there as well. And all you'd have to do is check this include partial bars. If you have data in the old file format or in CSV, you can come in and convert that data into the new file format as well. Because as I mentioned, the new file format is faster, quicker, and easier to use. So that's a brief overview of the downloader. We're going to have lots of training available for you on these products. So be sure to go through those training videos as you go through MetaStock 15. So let's go back over to our PowerPoint for just a moment. And let's talk about some of the other new features inside MetaStock 15. The first one here is the ability to scan and backtest in multiple time frames. So one of the limitations that you had in version 12, 13, 14 is if you wanted to scan, let's say, on anything other than what's built into MetaStock, you weren't able to do that. So if I went into the Explorer and was doing a scan on a 5-minute or 10-minute or a 30-minute chart, that was no problem. Those time frames were built into MetaStock. But if you wanted to do a 75-minute bar or a 33-minute bar or a 5-day chart, you couldn't do that. So now we've made it so you can. So to do that, you just go into the Explorer or the System Tester, click Custom, and you can choose whatever time frame you want. So if I wanted a 75-minute bar, for example, just choose 75-minute, click OK, and now when it runs my scan, it'll build 75-minute bars and do the exploration based off of that. Same in the System Tester. So if you do a scan based off of a 75-minute chart, you'll probably want to backtest a 75-minute chart. So here again, you can choose your interval. Let's just choose a security here. And then choose Custom, set your time frame, and you're able to backtest the exact same time that you were scanning. So now you can scan, chart, backtest, and forecast all in your custom time frame. So with that, that's actually our next feature, is just in the forecaster, where you're able to now go in and set custom time frames. Up until now in the forecaster, you were really limited down to just a daily chart. You couldn't look at any other time frames. So we've really sat down and we've enhanced the forecaster to allow you to be able to do those multiple time frames. And this can work either from a chart or right from the Power Console. So if I wanted to open up, we'll just say the Dow Jones, and we wanted to do any other time frame. So now you have all the custom time frames that are built into MetaStock, but also the ability to create your own. So again, if I wanted to now forecast in a 75-minute chart, I can just do that, click OK, and start my forecaster, and it'll bring up that chart in a 75-minute time frame. So now all your workflows can match. You're not limited to just having your charts in a 75-minute, but not being able to do that in the other power tools as well. So you can see now in the forecaster, it'll show that this is a 75-minute chart, and that I can use that. And what's great as well, if you go over into the Recognizer library now, is before, as I mentioned, you were limited to that daily time frame. Well, now you can come in and you can see what time frames the individual event recognizers are compatible with. So if you're doing a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly, if you see an I, that means it's compatible with intraday data as well. Some of them will only be compatible with a daily, such as a 52-week low, because that's looking over a daily chart over a year. So you may see some like that, but for the most part, all of them are going to be compatible with the multiple time frames. That also goes for your hand-drawn patterns and any patterns that are copied off the chart. Those will also be able to be used and recognized inside the forecaster. So let's just draw one really quickly to give you an example. So if I were to just draw a quick pivot shape here, you can actually set what time frames it's available in. So I can say it's only going to work in daily, weekly, monthly, or if I only want it to work on intraday, I can select that and put that in here. We'll just call this a pivot pattern really quickly. We'll click Save. And if I scroll down and find my pivot pattern, okay, you'll see that it's only compatible with intraday. I can go back in and modify that and change it, but we wanted to give you these features because, again, these are very user-driven features that people have been asking for a long time. So that's the enhanced forecaster. Okay, so we've covered the ability to customize your time frame within MetaStock in the Explorer and the System Tester. We've also talked about forecasting in any time frame and creating your own custom time frames and some of the enhancements inside the forecaster. Now we'd like to get into the systems and strategies that are built into the new version of MetaStock. So the first one is the PowerStrike add-on. The PowerStrike add-on, as I mentioned earlier, is a $200 add-on that's sold on MetaStock.com. Well, there's a lot of people that trade options, so we wanted to give them some additional tools to help them in their options trading. And PowerStrike was a great fit. So we've taken that and we've included it inside of MetaStock 15. PowerStrike is designed to help you identify support and resistance and identify the best times based off of strike levels to get into a trade. So I'm just going to walk you through how this system works very quickly. So first of all, we have to talk about support and resistance. So it's our buying and selling pressure on the market. So we know when we're hitting a top and we know when we're hitting a bottom, and using those to define price. So here's an example of support. So we can see a bottom down here where we've hit support. It's using it as a price basis, so it can't jump above that. On the other side, we have resistance, so it's using it as a top and trying to break through that top level. So we can see that these levels are very, very important in the market. What's awesome about PowerStrike is it combines the concept of support and resistance with the easily identifiable strike levels that are available in options. So let's kind of go through the principles here. So first of all, the first principle is that we tend to look for easily divisible numbers. We don't like numbers like 19 or 23. We like numbers that are easily divisible. So strike levels are typically very, very easy numbers to work with. So if you're not familiar with options, here's how strike levels work. If your price is between $5 and $25, it runs in increments of $2.50. So you'd see your strike levels at $5, $7.50, $10, $12.50, so on. If your price is between $25 and $200, then it moves up in increments of 5. So you go 25, 30, 45, 50, and so on. So when your price is above 200, you then move in increments of 10. Now there are some exceptions to that rule where you may see very high volatility stocks and stocks that are traded a lot have different strike levels. But for the most part, these are the rules of OPRA, the Options Price Reporting Authority. So these are the way it's programmed into the software. So what it does is it looks for support and resistance, but at those strike levels. So you can see as an example here, we have 70 and 75 because our stock trades in that range, so they move in levels of 5 as our support and resistance levels. So it's using that as a very critical part of identifying support and resistance. And what this does is it calls it the up strike at the upper level and the down strike at the bottom level. So because stock prices are so heavily influenced by the strike prices, because so many people trade options on stock, they become a very important level on trading that stock. And that's why PowerStrike's so awesome in helping you identify those levels around support and resistance and those strike levels. Then finally, when we're looking at PowerStrike and we're looking at options trading, we'll find relief around those strike levels faster by using those pressure levels of support and resistance. Okay, so first of all, it identifies support and resistance around the strike prices, and then it looks for pivots. So it has two types of identifying pivots it uses. One is a pivot low, and two is a pivot high. So it looks for those on each side of the trade. And then what it does, it takes the pivot plus volume analysis and gives it a score. So the greater the score, the better the trade. Okay, so if you look at the chart, and we're going to go into MetaStock and review this in just a moment, but you'll see these numbers. You'll have 1, 3s, and 5s. So these are pivot scores that are combined with volume. So 1 is a very small pivot. It's not very strong. 3 is more of a mid-term pivot, and then the 5 is a much stronger pivot. So when it identifies these, it scores them. Obviously, it combines volume in as part of that score, and then pulls it all together. Okay, so let's actually go in and look at MetaStock here. And what I'm going to do here to help us identify a current signal is we're actually going to go through and do a quick exploration with it. So we're going to go into the Explorer, and I'll just do my drop down here. I'm going to choose the Adaptive PowerStrike scan, and then I'm going to go down and choose the S&P 500. Now, if I have local data, I can do this on my local data, or I can do it online, whichever way you choose to do it. That's now available to you again. And we're just going to do this on a daily time frame. So I'm going to go ahead and start my exploration. And now, one of the ways to use the PowerStrike system is it can be used on its own, but it's actually a lot more powerful if you're using it in conjunction with a trading strategy. So let's say, for example, you have a MACD buy signal today on a stock, and you want to combine it with PowerStrike to see if it's a very good time to trade based off of those option strike prices. You can combine these systems together. So there's some videos that you can watch that'll show you how to scan the market and then find buy signals on a particular stock using your strategy, and then combine it together with PowerStrike to get an even more powerful signal. So you can see here we're rejecting about 93% of these, and what it's looking for are stocks that have a very high score and have a buy or a sell enabled today. Okay, so we have our results here. Let's go ahead and go into reports. And we have a few different things in our exploration result. The main column here is this enabled buy or sell. So if we rank on this, we'll get all the shorts, which are identified by a -1, or we can click again and get all of our buys that are enabled by a 1. So let's go ahead and just open up this chart here. We'll work with Tesoro. And let's close out our exploration results. Now, the easiest way to pull up the PowerStrike is just to go to the template. So we'll right-click Apply Template, go to Adaptive PowerStrike. And you can see here again we have a score. So there's a few things we see. We see our upstrike and our downstrike on our chart. We see a number of candles with different scores on them. And then we also see these volatility bands on the chart as well. So these volatility bands are basically the time frame that it's using to measure its score. Okay, so once the score is compiled, you don't have to go through and add all these up together, which is great. All you have to do is go into the expert commentary, and it will walk you through the score and give you what it looks for when it's looking for a score. So on the upstrike side, we have a score of 85 with 13 points. So our 85 is our strike level up here with a score of 13 points. So the closing price is about 6% below that 85. Our downstrike, or 80, is scoring 24 points. So the closing price is 0.3% above 80. So this gives us a buy enabled. So what it means by buy enabled means that the score is 33% greater than the upstrike score. So you have to have at least 8 points, and it has to be 33% greater than the upstrike. So once those things kind of come together, it's triggering a buy. So this is actually triggering a buy opportunity here for us. So if I had imagine if I had a MACD buy signal as well, and then I combined it together, I have two things coming together to give me a very strong buy signal. By combining indicators together, we have a more powerful signal, and that's what we're doing with PowerStrike. So we've just identified that we have a strong score and that we've closed above the downstrike, and that gives us that entry point. So if we go back here, By using this system, you can quickly identify whether you're heading up towards the next strike, is what we'd consider this in this trade as the next trading level up. So that's what you'd look for your strike level. Okay, with that, we're going to go ahead and go into our next system, SectorStat. The SectorStat Experts are designed to help you quickly identify the direction of a market or a sector. This is taking a top-down approach to the market. So when you can understand the direction of the market as a whole, you can better understand the stocks underlying in the market. Or conversely, if you're trading a sector, if you understand the direction of the stocks in the sector, you have a better chance of trading correctly in that sector. So let's take a look at SectorStat Experts and see what it's doing. So first of all, it includes 40 new indicators, 18 new experts, and 19 new templates. And what this is doing is, again, trying to help you identify the direction of the market. In MetaStock version 13, we actually released the SectorStat indicators. And there's a lot of confusion on how to use these indicators. So what we've done with the SectorStat Experts is really given you a very clean, clear approach to how to use these indicators and helping you decide the direction of the market. So what happens is, with SectorStat Experts, we're actually using advancing and declining issues to help us understand the underlying market. So for example, we're going to talk about the Dow for just a moment. So if I'm talking about the Dow and I'm looking for advancing and declining issues, I'm trying to understand what the underlying sectors are doing. So for example, if I'm looking at consumer discretionary, healthcare, utilities, here's a list of all the different sectors that are included. If I have more sectors going up than going down, I have more advancing issues. So I may have 7 of the sectors going up, so that'd be 7 advancing issues, and 3 going down, those would be my declining issues. So that's kind of how we're defining advancing and decline. So we use advancing and decline. We use advancing and decline of the volume on those as well, not just price. We're looking at price and volume. And then we use a McClellan oscillator on those. And we'll talk about what a McClellan oscillator is in just a moment. So again, we're looking for the number of issues moving up and the number of issues moving down. When we're looking at a market, we're looking at these specifically for that market. So for example, we've also included different global markets besides just the US as part of the upgrade to 15. So now you can look at the Australian market, the Singapore market, Hong Kong, London, South Africa. So we've included a lot of different global markets that you can look at. Now, one note is that you do need to be using either Datalink or Zenith to be able to power this, because it's using that data as a reference for its guide. So we look for our advancing and declining issues, and then we do a McClellan oscillator on there. Now, the McClellan oscillator sounds very fancy, but it's a very simple indicator. What it's taking is the difference between a 19 and a 39 period exponential moving average. It runs the difference of that over the price, and then what it does is it gives an oscillator. So typically the values go between 0 and 100, and it's plotted as an oscillator. When it's above 0, it's bullish. When it's below 0, it's bearish. That's as simple as the McClellan oscillator is right there. So let's actually go in and let's look at SectorStat Experts on a chart to give you an example of what it looks like. Then we'll come back to the rules of what it's looking for. So we have our PowerStrike open here still, so let's go ahead and close this. And we'll start by looking at the Dow. So we're going to go back to charting here. And we'll just type in the symbol for the Dow. And we're going to pull up the template for SectorStat, and we'll look for the US market review. So now if you're looking at the JSE or the LSE, you can see the templates there that are available to you. So we'll just go ahead and choose Open Chart. Now this might take just a second to load because it is calculating on 11 different instruments all at the same time. So it takes it a second, but the results that it gives us are very, very powerful. Okay, so now you can see I have a few indicators that have loaded, and I have buy and sell alerts on the chart and some trend ribbons. So let's talk about these and what's going on. So I'm just going to zoom in just a little bit. So at the top, we have the McClellan oscillator based off of price. So again, with the McClellan oscillator, we're looking for it to be above 0 for bullish. We're looking for it to be below 0 for bearish. So if we have it above 0, for example, right here, we've switched from bearish to bullish mode. The indicator down here is based off of volume. So it's looking at those same sectors, but it's looking at the volume of the sectors to see whether it's up or down from the previous day. So once it's running the McClellan oscillator on it, it plots as this oscillator. And again, when it moves above 0, it's bullish. When it moves below 0, it's bearish. Okay, so we have a quick understanding of the indicators: above, bullish, below, bearish. So it makes it very easy to understand. Now, what are all the colors on the charts and all these trend ribbons? What's going on there? Well, to understand that, first of all, we understand our indicator up here. When it's above 0, it's bullish, below, bearish. When this indicator is bullish, price bars will turn green. When this indicator is bearish, price bars will turn red. So that's what's happening on the chart down there. Again, when this is above, it's bullish, and this goes green. And on the other side, when it's bearish, these turn red. On the volume indicator, when the indicator goes above, you'll see this trend ribbon turns green, and that's labeled up volume or down volume. And when it turns bearish, the trend ribbon will go red. Okay, so we've identified how the bar colors are identified and everything there. Now, when those align, so when I have both of these go above 0, you'll see I have an alert arrow here telling me that both of those are going together. So that's what the blue arrows mean. When I get a red arrow, it means that they've both gone below 0. So all we're looking for are above and below 0, and when those come together, we get a blue alert arrow or a red alert arrow. Now, you can use these as trading signals. You can use them to understand the direction of the market, that the market is now bullish, it's moving up. You can use these as an opportunity to buy options or sell options on ETFs of the market, let's say on the diamonds or the spiders. That's one way to use it as well. So if we come in here, we can go into our commentary window. Now, if you want to remember what the McClellan oscillator is, how it works, and kind of have a check on what's going on the chart, we can pull up our expert commentary. So this walks you through how to use the SectorStat Experts. It'll give you a current condition of the market, whether it's bearish or bullish, and then it'll give you an overview of how the McClellan oscillator works and how it's plotted on the chart. Okay, so it can quickly help you identify to work through the trades and identify it. Now, we can use it on, like I said, on markets overall. So here we're looking at the Dow, but you can also use it on individual sectors. So if I close this inside, and let's go look at a sector to see how a sector looks with it. So I'm going to go into my lists here, and you'll see these new lists that are included inside MetaStock 15 for the SectorStat Experts. There's one for the global markets. So these are all the different global markets that you'll have experts to go with. And then these are all the US sectors that have an expert to go along with them as well. So let's just look at the financial sector here for just a moment. And we'll change our template to the financial sector. So we'll look for SectorStat Financial and choose Open. And then it'll give us the same view that we had on the overall market, but this time we're looking right at the financial sector. So this time, instead of using all the different sectors that are going on, it's using constituents of the financial sector to help us give those advancing issues and declining issues. So you can see when this triggers, it'll give us the alert arrow letting you know that that sector is turned bullish. And if you're trading the sector or the sector constituents, you know what's going on. There's an old adage that says a rising tide floats all boats, and that's where the top-down approach to the market comes in. So it's very critical to look at this type of aspect to understand the strength or the weakness of the overall market or the overall sector. So again, just to recap what we're looking at. So we want the bar colors to be above or below 0 for the red and green. The trend ribbon will be red, green or red, and when those come together, it triggers that buy or sell alert for us. The Haguro method is designed to help you quickly identify support and resistance based off of candlesticks and the weekly chart. The system was created by Gary Burton based off of the work of Seiki Shimizu. Gary Burton is actually the president of the Australian Technical Analysis Society and worked for years to develop this strategy based off of Seiki Shimizu's work. Jeff Gibby from our office actually helped work with Gary Burton to help put this system into MetaStock and bring it forward. You'll see in just a moment why it's a very powerful strategy for helping you understand the direction of the market or the security that you're looking at. So what we're looking at, and first of all, the very important concept is this is based off of weekly charts. So use that, keep that in mind, is when you're looking at charts, you need to be looking at a weekly. So what we look at is we look at support and resistance. We look at key turning lines, and this is based off of candle patterns. And it's designed to give you a fairly accurate portrayal of where your support and resistance is based off of those weekly charts. So what we're going to do here, first of all, is we're going to define what he calls a midpoint. So a midpoint is basically high minus low and puts a line in the middle, and that's midpoint. So if we look at these two candles, we have high minus low, and we have a midpoint. And that's our definition of a midpoint line. Okay, so on the opposite side, we have a high minus low, and we have our midpoint line. Okay, so that's an important concept. So again, we set our midpoint, and then that is drawn on the chart. Okay, let's go ahead and open up the Dow to look at the Haguro method. So what we'll do is we'll find the Haguro method in the Power Console for the template. We'll go ahead and choose Use Templates Periodicity. This will set it so it opens up as a weekly as it's designed to. So when we do that, the chart opens up and you'll see this thick black line overlaying on the candles. So if we zoom in just a little bit, you can see this line is typically drawn at a midpoint. Now, it doesn't constantly plot at a midpoint because that would be very confusing. It doesn't give you a lot of good information. So what the midpoint is actually doing is it's actually looking for an increase over the last two candles. So if we're looking right here, you may say, well, I would expect that I had an increase over the last two candles here, so you'd think that it would move up. Well, what it's looking for is the high minus the low again to give us that midpoint, and it's only looking over the two previous candles. So if I have high minus low here, high minus low here, and then I move up to this one, as that moves up, each candle gives us a high different low. So it's got to move up as it goes through to actually move that midpoint. So once we start to move into a consolidation period where we don't have that range, that big range, it allows the midpoint to be able to move up more quickly. So you'll see as you have big moves that it oftentimes won't move as it'll stay at a baseline and giving us that big support line. But when we have consolidation, it needs to pull up and consolidate that midpoint line and give us that range. Okay, so once it does that, again, it acts as support and resistance and gives us our support and resistance levels there. So that's one aspect of the system. Next, what Gary Burton did is he took this and he classified each candle. So you may hear him call it lines as you're reading the commentary, but really what he's talking about are the candle patterns. So you'll see here we're classifying each line. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and each of these candles are obviously a different pattern, and you can use this with different candle patterns. But what he's identifying here is price levels where they sit within the candles. But you can see the midpoint is always at the middle of high minus low. That's always where the midpoint sits, and that's always how it's calculated. On the flip side here, you'll see these candles are not numbered 1 through 8. They go 9 through 16, but they're in a little bit different of a pattern. That's not by mistake. That's actually the labeling of the system. They're the contrary patterns to the other side. So that's how those are identified. So once you start to have that midpoint support and resistance, we now have lines that have more significance when the price starts to extend in range. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go in and we're going to attach our expert advisor here. So we're going to go to our expert, click attach, scroll down, we'll find the Haguro method here again, and then we'll put that on the chart. And now what you're going to see is a labeling of all the different candle patterns that are available within the Haguro method. So we have that 1 through 16. Again, 1 through 8 are bullish, then 9 through 16 are bearish. And the great thing about this system is it has a great commentary that walks you through the significance of each candle pattern as you go through. So we're just going to go through and go view expert commentary. I'm just going to dock this here over to the side to give us a little bit more room on our chart. So you can see right now I have a candle 16. So when this is a long line, the midpoint is set as the future resistance for any declining prices. So it's going to start to look at the candle and the measurement of the candle to tell us what to do based off of that. So there's not a lot of significance here because the range of the stock hasn't moved. And that's measured by this zigzag indicator up here. Let's go back and find a more significant candle pattern. Often candle patterns such as candle pattern number 3 are more significant. And you'll see that by the highlighting of the blue. When you see these blue candles, those are more significant candles. So that's an important thing to look for. So you can see here, so candle 3, strong warning of reversal when found in a high price area. So it's had 3 days of move up, it's at a high price area, and it's at resistance. So it's at that midpoint resistance. So this is a stock that we really need to watch and look for that change of direction based off of that. So are we starting to have a reversal? Well, it hit resistance, and then the next week it's starting to reverse. So you can see that strong support and resistance level combined with the candle patterns can help you quickly identify the direction of the market or the individual stock that you're looking at. Let's go back and look for another 3 here historically just to get another view. So again, strong warning of reversal when found in a high price area. So this is actually in a lower price area because prices moved down, so it may not be as significant. So watch for that as well. But then it's going to walk you through and tell you how to use those candles in as part of the trade. So short positions would only be closed with the closing price above the high price. Okay, was our closing price, the next closing price above the high price? Yes, it was. So you'll want to start to follow the commentary. And that's what's great about these systems and strategies that we've included in MetaStock 15 is all the commentary that goes along with you to guide you through the system and how to use the system. The teach-talk trade methods that are included in MetaStock 15 were designed by Mike Rocheleau, who's also known as Uncle Mike. He designed these systems to be a quick twist to classic indicators. So what he's done is he's taken simple indicators like the MACD, Bollinger Bands, and also a proprietary oscillator, and included them to help you quickly identify trades that are very powerful. Now, one of the great things about it is we've already talked about what indicators they are, but what you do is you actually go in first of all and you set your account size and your risk. So he actually has developed this system around you as a trader. So what we do is we actually go into MetaStock. Let's close out this chart really quick. And what we're going to do is actually go into the indicator builder. So if you click on this little FX button up here, and then scroll down till you find TTT account settings. Go in and click edit, and you're actually going to set your account size, your risk, and that will help you better identify the trades and follow the trades inside the expert commentary when we get to that. So first of all, he has the default equity size set to 10,000. So maybe you have 50,000 in your account or 100,000 or 1,000, whatever that may be. Go in and set your equity size. You can set your risk. So if you're willing to risk 1%, 2%, 3%, whatever that may be on a trade, so let's maybe increase our risk up to 3%. And then you can set your stop, and that is based off of the closing price of the instrument. So he has that defaulted to 10% of the instrument's price. We'll go ahead and leave that for now. So we've increased our equity, we've increased our risk, but we're going to leave our stop the same. So you go in and you set your settings just as you want them. And then when you go in and you use the expert commentary, that expert commentary is updated based off of your risk and account size in the commentary window. So now what we'll do is we'll actually start by doing a quick scan. So he has a scan built in for all of his systems. We'll go into the Explorer. And let's go down and find the teach-talk trade methods here. They're designated by TTT. And let's start with the Bollinger Band oscillator. So what we'll do is we'll select our list again. Again, you can do local data or you can do offline with MetaStock 15. We'll go ahead and do online data here. And I'll go ahead and start my exploration. So now while that's running, we're looking at the Bollinger Band oscillator for his buy and sell signals, but it's not displayed as a typical Bollinger Band on his chart, and we'll see that in just a minute. He actually has set it so it flows more like a trending indicator on your chart rather than the Bollinger Band actually looks typically in displaying the bands, and we'll see that here in just a moment when we plot the indicator and the template on the chart. Okay, so now we have our results. So we'll go ahead and click on Reports. And you'll see it gives us a number of different columns here. So we have the closing price displayed, the volume, and then we have two columns. We have buy and we have sell. So if we go into the buy, so we have this Excel energy, we'll go ahead and click Open Chart. And we want to switch this to the Teach Talk Trade method. So we're going to right-click Apply Template. We'll go into the Bollinger Band Oscillator. And we'll just replace the existing chart there so we can see it a little more clearly. Okay, and you can see our buy indication here. So it's given a buy indication. So you can see this looks very different from a typical Bollinger Band. It's not, you don't have the bands actually enveloped on the chart. But what we see here is the calculation that's designed to give the buy and sell signals. So you have a range here that goes from 0 to 100. And what it's looking for is when the indicator dips down below 0, it's going to trigger a buy signal, as it's done here. When it crosses above, up here at the 100, it triggers a sell signal. So you can see we actually have several buy signals here, and we have a sell signal here because we had that reversal. So it's triggered in a buy entry here. Let's jump over to our commentary window, and let's take a look. So if I scroll down through, you can see now it's actually configured our settings here based off of what we put in that indicator. So we have a 50,000 account size. It's telling me I can risk 1,500 per trade. So that would give me a lot size of 741 units based off of the price of the stock. So I've got 741 units when I place a trade. Okay, so to exit out, I'll actually wait for that Bollinger Band oscillator to cross back above 100. So for example here, if I had been buying here, I would have waited for my exit to be up here to actually exit out of the trade. Once you hit that level, it's time to exit out of the trade. We also have our stop set. Remember, we set our stop settings at 10%. So we have a stop of 37.57 would be our stop level if I was setting a stop in my broker platform. I can see the last sell signal occurred 7 days ago, so that was back 7 bars ago. The last buy signal occurred today, 0 bars ago. Now my trend bias is still bearish across the board, but it's still signaling an entry signal. And I'd want to use that and follow what it recommends to me to do here in the expert commentary. So it's going to tell me I should wait till the open of the next bar to get into the trade, and then I'll just follow the trade, follow the stop levels as it moves up. So as the price moves up, it'll move my stop up, and when it gets up to the top, I'll quickly exit my trade. So once it hits that level, it's just time to exit. That's my entry and exit. So again, an example here would have been my entry. Okay, and then it ran up and it got me out up at the top. Now I may have been stopped. I would have gotten in on this bar, rode it up, been in, and I may have been stopped out as it moved out here, but I captured this profit here. And if I'd rode it all the way to the top, I would have captured that big move. So you can see how this system quickly just helps you smooth out the Bollinger Band a little bit by giving you that oscillator and letting you know when to get in specifically and when to get out specifically based off of it and based off of your account size, which is a very unique thing inside this system. Let's actually take a quick look at one of the other strategies, which is the Bollinger Band method, the MACD method. So we'll look at his MACD method really quick. We'll look at the same security, and it's actually triggering a buy signal on this stock as well as on the Bollinger Band. And this one works very similarly to the Bollinger Band. So what you're looking for is you're looking for a dip below the line at the top to generate your buy signal, and when it crosses above is your sell signal. Now instead of being based off of the Bollinger Band, this one's based off of the MACD, but it's displayed in a very similar manner, as is the TTT-T3 indicator, which is the other system that's included in it. So again, what's great about this system is it gives you your buys and sells, and it really helps you understand the trade, but it's all based off of your account size, your risk levels, and where you should be placing your stops. So it's a great method in that respect to really help you dive in, understand how you should be trading it, not just a generic recommendation to buy or sell, but giving you based around your strategies and what you're doing. The final thing we'll be talking about in MetaStock 15 are the 7 new templates. Again, being a user-driven upgrade, people have been asking us for quick, easy ways to plot classic indicators. So we've included these 7 new templates inside MetaStock 15. So we'll go in and quickly review a few of these, show you what they look like, and then show you how to plot them as well. So let's go in and first of all look at pivots. So we'll close this chart here, and we'll go in and we will open up a chart. And let's just open up the SPY. So now you can apply these templates directly from the Power Console, or you can go in and you can plot these by right-clicking on the chart. Let's actually go into our pivots weekly here. This would be plotted on anything that's a daily chart or above. If you're doing the daily pivots, those would be for intraday charts. And these are designed to quickly help you identify support and resistance levels based off of weekly data. So we're looking at a daily chart, but we're looking at weekly pivots to help us determine the support and resistance. So we have our main line here, and then we have our R1, 2, and 3, and S1, 2, and 3 to quickly help us identify support and resistance. So the daily pivots would look very much like this on an intraday chart. So again, if you're using this on a daily chart, you'll want to use the weekly pivot, and if you're using the intraday charts on the daily pivot. So let's look at some of the other ones that we've included in here. Another one that we've included in here is the popularized MACD, which is a different view of the classic MACD. Gives you more the histogram look and an overlay of the classic MACD. We also have one that's specific to the MACD for being a histogram of the MACD. So you can quickly apply that one and get the MACD histogram with the MACD overlaying on the chart. Now these are popular views that people have asked us for. Just one other quick one that we'll review is the price percentage oscillator. This is an indicator that's designed to quickly help you identify trend and price movements within the stock. Again, the templates are designed to quickly help you plot a set of indicators without having to plot each of them individually. So a template can be a great time saver, and that's why we've included this set of 7 inside MetaStock 15. I'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch this introduction to MetaStock 15. We're pleased to be bringing back features like local data, offline mode, and the downloader. We've also included the new systems and strategies for you, the Haguro Method, SectorStat Experts, the Teach Talk Trade, and the PowerStrike. We've also included the new templates for you as well. Now you can scan and backtest in any time frame as well as forecast. These features are going to help you be even more successful as a trader. What I would encourage you to do now is to call us to learn more about MetaStock, chat with us, or visit one of the links provided. Thank you very much for taking time to watch this video, and enjoy MetaStock 15 and successful trading.